From the vise of Greg Senyo comes the Wiggle Stone, a fly designed with tons of movement for big migratory fish. Hey everyone, Matt here with The Northern Angler. You can find all the materials for this fly and tons more at thenorthernangler.com. Stoneflies are incredibly prolific. There are over 3,500 species worldwide, so it's probably a pretty safe bet when deciding what to tie on during your next outing. This pattern is great because I don't think there's a wrong way to tie it. You can mix it up all you want to fit your fishery. All right, we're gonna start with the hook securely in the vise. This is kind of a generic size 10 nymph hook that I had laying around. You can use shanks, you can use hooks, you can use all sorts of stuff to create this tail piece that is the wiggle section. We're gonna start right at the eye. And I'm going to trim off this excess here, and I'm going to wrap back right to where my thread intersects the point of the hook. That's my point of reference for this fly. Before we do anything else, I'm going to add just a pinch of dubbing. By creating a little dubbing ball, it's just going to make your life a lot easier working with these biots. If you haven't used them before, do not be intimidated. They're not that tough. I think getting them oriented in your hand is the toughest part. So try and just create a ball that's on top of itself. This is probably a bit too much, but this is a fly for steelhead. I can get away with it. Grab your biots. Love these things. You're going to want two. Okay, trim them off right up against, and then you got two of them there. You're going to want to flip one over so that they are now, this, like I said, this is the toughest part, so that they are opposing. See how they have that natural outward bend? Great. So here I'm going to measure from my eye back to my dubbing. I'm going to split these. I'm going to rotate so you can see. I'm going to split these around that dubbing. And I've got the dubbing kind of pinched in my hand. It allows me to really manipulate my thread without worrying too much. Start with a loose wrap, then add tension, and you'll get them to splay out just like that. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the shank here. Just cover those up. Production level is the key here, especially when you're tying stuff for steelhead. You're going to throw this stuff in the wood, so don't get too picky about how perfect your tails look. We're going to add some ultra wire here in silver. This is actually medium, which is as large as I would ever go, really. I think brassy's probably fine. But this does certainly make this back half of the fly pop. All right, now we're just going to get into dubbing the back half of this fly up. Don't get too crazy. I think lots of tires out there. It's just too easy to go overboard with your dubbing. You can always add some more. This is hair and ice dub. It's a great blend, especially for stoneflies. You can pick this stuff out. It just is kind of nice and buggy. And it dubs really easy. Anything with hair's ear is going to make your life a lot easier. And I'm going to get up near the eye, not to it. I'm going to save myself a little bit of space to tie this wire off. And you can use the rotary here if you want. I'm just going to do this real quick. Not too worried. This is not going to be a show winner, but it's going to catch fish. Get up to your thread, capture that, and then a few wraps in front. I like to do the helicopter move and then a whip finish. Great, easy. Let's hit it with just a tiny bit of UV. All right, that should do it. Easy. If you're going to comb this out, this is the time you want to do it, because once you trim this back half, it becomes kind of tough to actually hang on to this, just this shank as it's wiggling about. So I like to comb this out a little bit. Just gives it a little bit more life. Doesn't have to be crazy, but I think it just sells the whole thing that it's a stonefly a little bit more. Okay, take that out. We're going to start with the front with our egg hook, short shank Gamakatsu C14S. It's a classic. If you need an egg hook, look no further. This is a size 8. You can go up if you want. 8's great, I think. It's just reliable. All right, let's wrap right on back to where it starts to bend. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of mono. I'd probably use 8 to 10 pound. A little piece of mono. Don't go too thick. Remember, there's not going to be a hook really attached, so it's not that big of a deal. This is a good time to trim the shank. I'm just using wire cutters. Obviously my scissors are not going to do that. Try not to get this in your eye. Snip, snip. Great. I usually do this in 2 stages so that I can get a little bit closer. Just trying to trim off your thread. A little bit of shank exposed is not a big deal. So let's grab some mono, because I set mine down and I can't find it. That happens. That is the downside with some of these thin materials. All right, I'm gonna just cover this up really well. Remember, this is not going to support a shank itself, so don't worry about it being perfect. I thread that through, bring that up to the back, loose wraps here, because you're going to want to make some adjustments. Okay, I'm going to bring this in. It's going to be pretty close, but I want it to just be able to move. That's the key thing, and it does wiggle. That's good. That's the whole point, right? All right, let's cover this up. If you want it really durable, you can double it over. Can't hurt, right? You can super glue it if you want. Up to you. All right, now I like to add just a tiny bit of dubbing here at the back before we tie in the wing case, because it looks better. It kind of brings some continuation or continuity, if you will, to the fly. So we carry that dubbing piece forward. That's probably even too much there. I'm going to keep it all at the back. Great. Now when I comb this out later, this will hopefully veil that hook eye and it'll just look like one continuous fly that wiggles a whole lot and catches a whole pile of fish. That's the whole idea, right? All right, so thin skin. You can get, you can go down the rabbit hole of natural wing cases. But again, we're here for consistency and simplicity. Long pair of scissors, if you have it, cut this nice and thin right across. We'll see how I did. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty happy with that. We're also gonna get some pearl tinsel. This is large, or this is opal. I tend to like opal. It's shinier. Well, come on now, tinsel, do your job. All right, so always with a flashback, tie in your flash first because it's going to be the last thing you fold over. Give yourself plenty of space here. You want a lot of purchase. Okay, find that thin skin. And then you need to separate this from the paper backer. You see that there? Okay, separate. And the side that was attached to the paper is a little bit shinier, so I'm going to place it down. That way we'll get the shiny side up when we fold it back over. And you can tension this a little bit. You don't have to go too crazy though. And then I'm going to wrap as far back against that bump as I can. All right, great. Now we're back to dubbing, and we're going to separate this into two chunks. So there's going to be two clumps of dubbing and two sets of biot legs that are coming off this thing. And we're just going to create a really simple dubbing ball. The key is don't go too far forward. Save yourself some room, but don't be afraid to kind of, take some liberties and build some features out. You can make this thing enhanced if you want. You can get real crazy. You can do some fun colors here for steelhead. Blue is one of my favorites. You can also do purple, all sorts of stuff. Don't feel like it has to be totally natural. That's the fun of steelhead, is that you can use a whole lot of different stuff to get those fish to eat. All right, we're going to fold over this first piece of thin skin. Great, got a few wraps on that. Make sure you get a wrap or two on the shank. Same thing, flash next. You can wrap them together if you want. I generally do them separate. Okay, and then I would just want these folded forward. That flash is driving me nuts, so I'm going to trim it. Now we're going to grab some biots. Again, do not be intimidated. These are going to be your friend, and you're going to impress some people. So for this, I'm looking for this biot to extend to just back by where the eye is, maybe a little bit beyond the eye of this back trailer. That might be a little bit long, so we can adjust it there. Looks good. Got a few wraps on it. Good. And then these are splayed out. Don't forget. And I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to use my rotary vise. I have it. May as well use it. Have this sweet Renzetti. All right. Great. Those are pretty even. Wrap that down. Trim your biots. Do not trim your flashback or your thin skin yet. All right, this part throws people off a little bit. What do? You just fold it over again. All right, here's the trick. You ready? Fold your flashback back and your thin skin back and wrap on top of them, okay? And then we're gonna create that second dubbing bundle, bunch, ball, whatever, in front of that. And because we have that mono on there, we have a bunch of stuff already incorporated into this body. We don't have to add quite as much to the front. And you need to leave some space at the eye because we still need to tie everything off and add some more biots. So don't go too crazy here. Less is a little bit more. If you're going to add some, wrap it back. All right, great. Up to the eye. Fold this over, and I'm turning this to the side to make sure I get some, kind of want this to look like that is a rounded section. There we go. You see how we get that cool fold going in there? Looks good. Great. And now I'm going to come in with the scissors, take my time, try and get a nice cut, clean cut. All right, we've got that trimmed off. Let's add 2 more biots. And this is what really, I think, takes this fly over the top. It just looks so good. We're going to measure 1 shank length, pinch, come in, and you need to really, really watch your thread wraps. We've got a lot going on. We're working close to the eye. Okay, I've only got 1, and that's my second wrap there. I'm just trying to keep everything super minimalistic right now. Measure that again on the other side. This is where, when you get your good thread control going, it really, it's pretty nice. You can do a lot of things. All right, I'm just gonna sneak a wrap in front if I can, really close here. And then I'm gonna do a whip finish and really work it back. I don't want that eye to be too crowded. There we go. Sorry, some of that flashback material was in the way. We're gonna do one more whip finish. Good, cinch that down. And at this point I reach for usually the bone dry just to finish that thread all the way around real quick. Make sure it's nice and secured. Don't have to use very much here, of course. Nice thing with that little super fine brush they have. Get some of that UV on there. And then really to finish this thing off, I like to use some of this thin solution to kind of build up the wing case here. I'm going to start at the back. A little bit goes a long ways. A lot of times I'll just get some on there and then spread it around with the needle. I'm not actually adding more. I'm just spreading it around with that nozzle. Kind of create this little bubble in there and set this fly off. Everybody's going to want to fish this. People are going to steal them out of your box. All right, cure that UV resin, that thin hard. Stuff dries super fast. Nice and reliable. Get all the angles. And then I like to finish this off with combing it out. And hopefully, like I said, we can get this little back piece to cover at least a little bit of that. The tail. All right, there's your fly, ready to wiggle. That's the wiggle stone, everyone. If you have any questions or you like this video, leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to grab the materials list in the description and think about checking out an article over on our website where we talk about colors, size, and different ways to customize and trick this fly out. Before you go, think about hitting that thumbs up button. It's a big help for us. Get tying, everyone. We'll see you soon in the shop or out on the water.